Hello everyone, Zeldarinth here, and for today's video on Umamusume, when we talk about the upcoming support card banner, it'll be dropping with the card everybody's been waiting for, and that's going to be with the group card Throne, and alongside her will be Condor Pasa Speed. Now, a lot of people are not anticipating her for pulling for her, but borrowing her. We're going to take a look into the reasons why. But first, I thought we just kind of discuss the Umas that'll be rerunning alongside this banner, and that's going to be with Narita Bryan and Seiyun Sky. Now, if you're going to want to pull on this rerun banner, the main Uma here that you would primarily want to pull for would be Seiyun Sky. Now, while Narita Bryan is fairly good and has a decent inherit, there's just a lot of things coming up that are going to be coming after your carrots. Same thing can actually be applied to Seiyun Sky as well. And while she continues to be the meta inherit for frontrunners with angling and scheming, and you're going to pretty much always want that on your Umas. When we get the 1.5 anniversary, she's going to be added into the legend races. So you'll actually be able to grind out and earn her over the course of getting 150 stars. Now, if you've already done the legend races for Seiyun Sky when she originally dropped, you probably have around 80-ish stars, and thus it only should take you about 2.5 months to get her. And if you're having to kind of deal with her without her for this amount of time, it's probably worth it to just kind of wait out that and then grind her there versus pulling here, because there's a lot of other things that you're going to want to spend your carrots on. Now, with that out of the way, though, the big thing I want to talk to you about today is the Throne and Condor Pasa Speed card. Now, before we talk about Throne, let's just take a quick look at the Condor Pasa Speed. Now, this is not going to be a card that you're going to want to pull specifically for, but it is something to take note of, especially if you're a new player and you acquire copies of her pulling on the banners coming up, because we do have a lot of big banners that are coming up, and you may end up acquiring some copies of her. And so Condor Pasa Speed as an SR is a very good speed card. Pretty much going to be the best SR speed card at this point in the game. So if you're new and you're just getting SR cards, this one might be one to take a look out for, especially if you're basically missing like Kita-san Black and all the others. And that's because if you look in her unique effects, she has speed right there. And then the frequency she participates in a preferred training type increased there. So a little bit of special priority alongside having 50 built in. So while not as good as Kita-san Black, still a decent amount to help her land on it. She has an okay friendship bonus, not a thing crazy there, but she does have 10% race bonus for Trackblazer, which is good, especially if you're going to continue to be doing your parent runs in Trackblazer, even though Grand Live is going to be dropping soon. Mood Effect 30, initial friendship gauge, always nice to see that. The higher your friendship gauge starting out, the better, especially for Grand Live. And if you're having to kind of use someone like Condor Pasa over Kita-san Black or something because she's all you got, that'll be decently nice. Training effectiveness 5%, not a lot, but you at least have a little bit there. And then power bonus. So she has speed and power, which is really good. Not just like if you've used the Condor Pasa power SSR, she pretty much has all the same skills in here. Biggest thing is she's just missing a gold because she is an SR card. But if this is the one you end up picking up over time as a new player as one of your SRs, it will be the best going forward until you get better speed cards. But you will be getting those better speed cards very soon anyway, in terms of Summer Maruzenski and Agnes Taki on speed, that she'll pretty much become irrelevant for most people unless they start later than now. But now the big card we're going to want to talk about is Throne, because while I'm going to say you do not want to pull for this card, it is going to be the card you're most likely going to want to borrow for maybe rebuilding your Umas for this CM. If you're one of those people who wants to try and do that. I plan to do that with my Christmas Ogre cap. But also for the sprint, she will make it very easy and convenient to build consistently strong Umas stat-wise. But that is pretty much her only value, because she completely drops off in Grand Live. Now she will come back for one more CM right before the Goddess card drops in Grand Masters. Throne card is a very good card up until that point, which then you'll either get Goddess card yourself or borrow the Goddess card over Throne. And what makes her so good is how consistent she makes a run. She would have been very nice to have early on in Trackblazer, just based on how she works. Now, looking at what she has built into her skills themselves, she has skill point bonus 2 right in her unique effect. Really, really nice. Every time you hit her, you get those extra skill points. Very high friendship bonus at 35%, which will be very important, which you'll see here in a second. Very high initial friendship gauge, really good there. Trading effectiveness is 5, so she has a little bit of that. Initial speed, decent amount there. She has the event effectiveness, event recovery from her events, so she does give energy and stuff in her events, like we've seen with the Team Cyrus card. She has the wit friendship recovery if she hits on wit. You have speed bonus, which is nice. Race bonus 10%, very important for Track Blazer. And so overall, pretty good on the skills. Now, how this card works is fairly similar to the Team Cyrus card, but much, much better. First thing is she does have in her gold skill Refraction Arc, which is your gold version of medium corners. So if you're doing a last second build for this CM, this is one thing that can give you a slight edge over other people. Now it's the gold version of medium corners, which is a 0.35 over 2.5. It's not like crazy must have, like someone that has it, they're so much better, but it is an advantage it can give you, which is very good. But what makes her so good is how the group cards work. Especially you can even use this pairing it with Team Cyrus. And that is, as soon as you unlock the ability to do the dates, you can work in time when you actually get the last one to trigger, which gives them the pure passion heirs to the throne. And so what this does is make this a universal rainbow support card. As you can see here, can carry out friendship training with the throne's assemblage, and is immune to insomnia and lazy habit. The big thing is the guaranteed rainbow with wherever she lands. And as you can see, she has massive friendship bonus herself. Now, why she's so good and makes it a run so consistent is if you unlock the dates at the right timing, basically at the beginning of the run, you can take specific days during your calendar to plan out each and every one of these dates. Not only hers, but also if you bring Team Cyrus alongside it, you can plan your entire calendar out. So you know exactly when you're going to race. You know exactly when you're going to do the dates. And so I actually have that on my Discord that I posted it here. So let's go take a look at that. So this is one that was showing in JP. I think there's different variations of this depending on your deck and if you're using Team Cyrus or not. So this one is using both in the instance that you can see it has all of the cards planned out. So once you get basically to that beginning area, if you remember, you do the 3 trainings after the debut race right here. You basically just follow this track. You just train, race, and then you do the Silent Suzuka event, and then you have the 3 races, the Narita Bryan event, the race, Rudolph, and as you can see, you just keep following it. Where they have a card sitting here is where you do their events. And the main one that's really, really big is when you pop the Throne cards event. Now, doing that will make it where you get guaranteed basically rainbows during the summers. You're basically timing it to get very strong rainbows during that second summer. And so you're going, if she lands with like any other support cards, it's going to be massive bonuses. So it's going to be fairly consistent. You're not going to have that instance of your second summer pretty much not having anything to hit. You will at a minimum have Throne hit. Now, can she land in a bad spot? Yeah, I mean, she could land if it's, well, for sprint's coming up. If she lands on stamina all 4 times in the summer, then okay, yeah, now her rainbow is fairly useless in the sprints when you don't really need stamina. Now it gives you a little bit of guts. So you could consider that like the ultimate bad luck. But you, with Throne, can take advantage of Guts hits, especially if you're not even doing a Guts build. If she lands on Guts, that's a big Guts rainbow hit alongside with other support cards. She works well with Wit, works well with Speed, power hits to get your power up. Regardless, you're going to get solid rainbows with that card. And you just follow this calendar every time you do run. It's by no means a guarantee to a strong ace in one run. You still have the RNG of getting the skills and all that. She doesn't solve all problems. She just makes things a lot more consistent. And so if you've already got a very strong Uma kind of going into the CM, it may not be worth it to you to try and do a run again. If you've already built a strong one, there's not like a must-have for her. She's not the same as we're going to see with like Light Hello and Grand Live, where she ultimately really interacts with the mechanics of the scenario in a way that is super, super powerful. It's just going to add a lot of consistency. She has a really good gold for mediums, which you don't get to really use in the sprint, which is funny enough. That JP didn't even have her available for the medium like we are. For frontrunner, she does give you easy access to prudent positioning, so if you pick up dodging danger, you do have that. Tokai Teo gives you prudent positioning off of hers. I believe some other ones are built in here as well. Yeah. But none of these are like any must-haves. I think the biggest thing is the prudent positioning when it comes to the skills here. But you can pick up the other stuff as well through the different event chains built into it. I mean, it's just kind of the mixture of all the Umas that are built into this card. I will say one negative is the Umas that are in the card, just like Team Cyrus cannot use this card. So just take note of that. Simbali Rudolph, Tokai Teo cannot use this card if you're building them. So just take note of that. But overall, a very solid card, but a very big borrow. We have way too much coming up that are way better. You're only going to really be able to min-max the value out of her on 2 CMs, which is the sprint, as well as the very first one for Grandmasters. But Grandmaster is going to have the same thing that we're having right now with this medium, where we're most likely going to see Goddess card drop in the middle of the first CM, and some people might want to rebuild with that card when it drops. So not a lot of value there. Now, some people, they say, well, what about for parent runs? Because you're going to still want to do your parent runs in Trackblazer. You can just borrow her. That's the way I see it. She is going to be very good for parent runs and having that consistency. But I will say one negative for her on parent runs, especially if you're in my situation, which is you've already got some really decent established parents, and maybe you're borrowing a card like Muteki. Muteki, you're wanting to try and get hint specifically off her because she's like max hint discount on one single hint. And she can completely throw the entire throne plan out the door when you take her hints, because you're taking a Muteki hint over doing the support card event, which then means now you got to do that event on another spot where you maybe were planning on racing. And so for me, while it can make your parent runs more consistent, especially for SS, which is very important, it's not to me as good as for building aces. This was a big bait card in that instance for the JP players, and so you're just going to want to borrow it here for your runs. But that's going to be pretty much it kind of on Throne and my thoughts on it. Just keep saving your carrots, borrow that card. If you want something to pull on, you're getting to do that next week, because Maruzensky is finally going to be dropping. Going to be very, very good. I will be doing a lot of pulls on that one. And then not too long after that, you'll have the Light Hello Agnes Tachyon. So those of you like me who have been hoarding carrots for a while and have been itching to want to pull, don't worry, it's coming up. You will finally get to do some big pulls if they are in your plan, ultimately. I mean, not everybody needs Summer Maruzensky, but at least Agnes Tachyon and Light Hello will be dropping here soon enough. But that's going to be pretty much it for now. And if you like my content, if you like, comment, subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.